Sea, it was a region of marginal importance for the West. The only country with some links with the West, it was Turkey, being a member of NATO. Either Romania or Bulgaria or the newly established countries, were looking, for a better future for friends. But we were far from being on the Western radar, regarding our domestic or international evolutions. Today, Black Sea is a region of strategic importance for NATO. We just had an important summit, and by the way, Mr. Landsbergis, thank you very much for the perfect conditions, Lithuania offered to us all when you hosted the summit in Vilnius. And we have a strong base, for addressing the very important issues which we have in the Black Sea. And we have a very good framework, either to discuss about threats, and threats continue to come from Moscow, from Russia, or to continue to fight and to look for opportunities of cooperation, because I think that that's why diplomacy is. We should preserve our hopes that cooperation, that they will be saved in our region too. So, ending my, I hope not very long introduction, it is my privilege to invite Mr. Odobescu to address the topic which we decided to discuss this afternoon. And later on, I invite also Mr. Landsbergis to contribute to our conversation, especially taking into consideration that Baltic Sea, and that's a personal point of view, looks to me to be a NATO sea in this moment, as long as Finland, already joined the organization, and Sweden is not far from that moment. But first of all, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Odobescu to take the floor.
Thank you. Your Excellency, dear Gabrielius, dear Minister, thank you for joining us. Dear colleagues, first of all, allow me to thank you for being here today at the annual meeting of the Romanian ambassadors. And I will start underlining what is obvious. Lithuania and Romania are close partners and allies. And we are friends, and we share the same visions about Europe, about the security from the Baltic to the Black Sea. Unfortunately, both of our regions and the entire Europe are shaken by the barbaric war which Russia still wages against Ukraine. The war is a culmination of decades-long Russia policy of attacking the territorial integrity and sovereignty of its neighbors. This long-lasting Russian approach to its neighborhood has affected regional security from the Baltic to the Black Sea. Of course, I will speak more about the Black Sea. And here in the Black Sea, the situation has worsened as a result of the continued illegal actions which Russia has been conducted before and after the launch of the war against Ukraine. Russia is declaring no-go zones for navigation, which overlap with the exclusive economic zones of the other countries in the Black Sea. It has harassed ships and planes operating in the Black Sea, putting in danger the lives of their pilots. Russia's participation in the Black Sea Grain Initiative was a kind of sign, I would say, a kind of sign of respect for humanity in the region and across the globe, but unfortunately this did not last long. After withdrawing from the agreement, Russia has started to attack the Ukrainian ports in Odessa regions, some very close to the Romanian borders. The Romanian citizens could see the flame of strikes from their homes, and as if that was not enough, the Russian ships started to police the free navigation routes in the Black Sea, harassing and even shooting at commercial ships. This behavior is abusive, and it has to stop. In the current challenging context, the question is, how can we maintain security and freedom of navigation? How can we avoid escalation? How can we deal with the challenge of drifting mines? At national level, we have intensified interagency consultation on the security situation in the Black Sea. We keep the situation under close review. We maintain a close dialogue with our allies in NATO. We have intensified our dialogue and cooperation with our close allies at the Black Sea, I mean Bulgaria and Turkey. Together with NATO, we have increased air patrolling over the Black Sea. Protecting security at sea complements what we have been doing to reinforce deterrence and defense of Romania's territories. We have made steady efforts to ensure a robust NATO presence, which together with our forces represent a powerful signal of allied security and solidarity. We are grateful to our allies which contribute with forces. We will continue to work with our allies to prevent conflicts and ensure effective defense. We are happy that together with Lithuania and other Eastern allies, we have managed to build up a strong forward presence along the eastern flank. Security in Europe, security in the eastern flank is not complete without the security of our neighbors, Ukraine, Republic of Moldova and Georgia. Romania will continue to offer its multi-dimensional support for Ukraine, including for the grain transit. At the same time, we will continue to help Republic of Moldova and Georgia to strengthen their defense and their resilience. We count on the support of our NATO and EU partners to help in these efforts. In an even changing strategic and geo-economic environment, improved connectivity has become equal to enhance security. It is therefore of paramount importance to address the connectivity security nexus. It is one of the reasons why I consider that our dialogue today on security and connectivity comes at the right time. We have seen recently, even since the illegal Russian aggression towards Ukraine, that connectivity and improved infrastructure, be it rail, road, or maritime infrastructure, are key elements for providing a secure and resilient environment. We also see connectivity as a converging hub covering transport, energy distribution, and digital transformation, aim at making our economies more efficient and, most of all, more resilient. Romania attaches great importance to cross-border connectivity, especially by promoting and delivering results within the 3 Seas initiative. You know that next week we will organize the summit, and the Lithuanian president will participate, and then it will be followed by a business summit the second day. And I take this opportunity to congratulate our Lithuanian friends for their decision to organize the next summit of the 3 Seas initiative next year. So, dear Minister, dear Gabrielius, from the Baltic to the Black Sea, we have a lot of work to do to ensure security and peace, and I think together we can achieve that. Thank you again for being today with us here. If you allow me, I will give you the floor. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Dear Minister, dear Luminița, excellent colleagues, it's really a great honor, first and foremost, to be here and to have this possibility to share some thoughts from the Baltic shores. It's definitely not a coincidence that today I'm here in Bucharest speaking to you at the start of what is likely to be a very consequential political season. The start of a season is the time to think strategically about our goals and how to achieve them and who will be our key partners along the way. This is where Romania and Lithuania, together with the wider Bucharest 8 group, are bound to be together. First and foremost, in helping Ukraine achieve victory and move significantly towards becoming our common ally in NATO, but also on many other fronts, like making NATO's eastern flank more secure, championing European integration, and making sure that Ukraine and Moldova start their EU accession negotiations before this year is out. On all these fronts, we will need courage. We will need to face our own fears and convince others to confront theirs. We will need to be resolute, to say the least. And by resolute is a very accurate description of how we in Lithuania see Romania's foreign policy. We consider you a key pillar in helping Ukraine achieve victory against Russia's aggression. Your efforts are indispensable in helping an impressive share of Ukraine's grain reach the world markets. We recognize your leadership in guiding Moldova on its European path. We see your dedication to region's connectivity in steering the 3 Seas initiative, and we appreciate you as an active and reliable partner in EU and NATO, and a fellow believer in strengthening the transatlantic link. In Ukraine, we should not let our rhetoric run too far ahead from our real deeds. We should not feel entitled to judge the speed of Ukraine's progress without self-reflection on whether we ourselves have done enough. The fear of escalation has so far prevented us from giving Ukraine types and quantities of weapons that would allow to actually win the war. Starting with helmets back in winter of 2022, all the way to HIMARS, Leopards, Patriots, F-16s, we were constantly hesitating and kept losing time. This has already cost way too many Ukrainian lives. So our first goal of this political year should be getting rid of this vicious, reactive paradigm. We must plan for victory, not a war for as long as it takes. And by victory, I mean Ukraine regaining control of its internationally recognized borders, including Crimea, and being free to choose its own path. History of my country, just as Romania's, proves that if back in the 90s we would have been afraid of moving towards freedom, democracy, and the rules-based order, the Soviet Empire might still be controlling half of Europe. Because if we are afraid to stand for Ukraine, we might be afraid to stand for Lithuania, to stand for Romania, or anybody else. We have to make sure that Europe and the international community have sufficient will and deterrent capacity to prevent further aggression and push the aggressor back. Otherwise, Putin and others of his ilk will have an upper hand. In addition to helping Ukraine achieving the victory, we should all work for making sure this victory is sustainable and lasting. Credible security guarantees to Ukraine will have to be at the heart of it. And as our countries know so well, only NATO membership can provide Ukraine with security guarantees and a credible deterrent to avert future aggression by expansionist Russia. At Vilnius NATO Summit, we have not won the day on this issue, but created a strategic opportunity. We committed ourselves to Ukrainian membership in NATO. Building on the Bucharest decision of 2008 and the Vilnius promise of 2023, we have to use few short months before Washington Summit to push the alliance to deliver on our commitments. As Bucharest 8, we have been quite successful at that in the run-up to Vilnius Summit. We should start planning a new united push right now and persevere until the very last minute of the Washington Summit. Ukraine's ultimate victory can only be anchored in a fully democratic system. The successful EU enlargements in 2004, 7, and 13 prove that the most effective way to expand the space of peace, stability, and prosperity in Europe has been and will continue to be European integration. But here again, we will be facing fears that EU, with Western Balkans, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia on board, can somehow become unrecognizable, with its institutions failing to cope. Fears not unlike these that still prevent Romania from joining Schengen, where it fully belongs. It will be our task to confront these fears head-on. Both Ukraine and Moldova made impressive gains in implementing reforms and fully deserve a positive political message on the start of the membership negotiations by the end of this year. Finally, next season, we will have to continue our efforts to strengthen NATO's eastern flank. At Vilnius Summit, we approved new regional defense plans and laid foundations to strengthen our air defenses. Finland's participation as a NATO ally and a hopefully swift accession by Sweden also add to our common security. But with volatility in Russia only about to increase, neither Baltics nor the Black Sea region are where they need to be in terms of deterring the threat. Plans do not deter by their mere existence. Generation of sufficient forces by allies, significantly more troops stationed along NATO's eastern borders, even during peacetime, and restarting the defense industry is what is needed to make a real impact. As frontline states, it will be our mission to call spade a spade and keep reminding the price of inaction. Dear colleagues, as much as I would like to, it is difficult to end on a lighter note. While the hot war is raging in Ukraine, the contours of a new Cold War are taking shape. The rules-based international order is increasingly questioned. New alternative orders are being created as we speak. As we chart our foreign policy in these choppy waters, it is our moral and historical obligation to make sure that when the Iron Curtain falls again, it would not leave those who want to live in freedom on the other side, like it did almost 80 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Landsbergis. Thank you very much, Minister Odobescu. I think, Mr. Landsbergis, you are right. We have to update our talking points, and instead of the Bucharest acquis, regarding membership in NATO for Ukraine and Georgia,